Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am going to talk about one of the challenges that a Filipina will face when she marries a foreigner. So based on my personal experience, when I came here, I was only 22. My husband was 24. And a lot of people said I looked really young. They thought I was only 17. Some people said she's probably 16. And when you're together, people will give you a look, a not so nice look. People are curious, some people are just nosy, and some people are just they're stereotyping. So when I started working, I had someone ask me if I was a mail order bride. Are you a mail order bride? And I thought, wow, that is so offensive. I'm not a mail order bride, but I explained, and this is when it gets uncomfortable because now you have to tell your story. And to be very honest, it's not always easy to have to tell the story. Like, this is how we met. He went there to the Philippines to meet me and my family, this and that. And it's like you opening your life to someone that you really don't know much. And it can be very uncomfortable. But you're kind of, sometimes you don't have a choice but to explain yourself. When I was young, I get sensitive about this, and sometimes I feel a little uncomfortable. But as I've gotten older, I realize there's no reason to feel uncomfortable because at the end of the day, no matter how much you explain to people, some people will probably think, how, well, that's cool. That's really nice. What a lovely love story you have. But some people will always stereotype because they've already made up their mind. And I didn't realize that until, based on experience, you realize you start to discern people, and then you realize some people just, they don't really care about your story. They've heard someone's story and it's a negative story, or they've had a negative experience themselves, and now they think everybody's like that. So they start to think you're probably here for the visa, you're probably here for the good life, you're probably here for this, for that, and so on and so forth. I realize you don't have to feel uncomfortable. In fact, how do I approach this? When someone asks me, how did you meet your husband? Because that's always going to be a question for some reason. People always like, how did you meet your husband? How did you guys meet? Now, don't get me wrong. Some people, when they ask, because they're asking because they're curious. And I'm no problem sharing my story to those people. But some people, when they ask, you can tell they're not asking because they're curious. They're asking because they're fishing information, because they already are stereotyping. They've already made up their mind. And to be very honest, feel free to tell your story. If you're not uncomfortable with that, feel free. Tell them your story. Tell them your love story, long story, short story, however you like. And at the end of the story, give the question back. And how about you? How did you meet your husband? Or how did you meet your wife? And honestly, it amazes me how uncomfortable people can get. People really get uncomfortable when you ask them, but then they don't realize how uncomfortable you are when you're asked that question. So that's how I approach it. Nowadays, I really don't care. When people ask, I tell them straight up. This is how I met my husband. We've been married for this long and we're happy. How about you? How did you meet your spouse? And when you ask that question, some people will feel happy to tell you their story, but most people that um, I have asked back felt really uncomfortable. So that, it's, how do you call that? Giving people, a taste of their own medicine. If you don't have bad intentions when you asked a Filipina about it, then you shouldn't feel bad telling your story as well. But most people feel uncomfortable because they have a bad intention when they asked. And for me, that is one of the challenges. It's not the biggest challenge, especially now that I'm older. I don't really care anymore. Like, I don't care how you think. I don't care how you think about me and my marriage. As long as I live happy, I'm happy with my husband, he's happy with me. That's all that really matters. So here you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. See you next time.